Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. Just so you're aware, the following discussion will be limited strictly to the Winter's Edge Twitch stream that I am on AP Gaming Reels channel on Saturday nights. There won't be any other gaming content on this video, so I will certainly understand if you click away now. The purpose of this video is to explain the circumstances behind some of the events that occurred on Saturday's stream and how it has impacted those that participate in Tavern, and to explain some of the decisions that I made. So for those of you that aren't aware, during Saturday's stream, as soon as we performed our kingdom turn and constructed a library, which just so happens to contain a printing press, a newspaper immediately went out. Arthur dutifully posted the content of that news article in Roll20 so the players could read it. Now the contents within that news report was the following 4 articles. 1. The barbarian tribe, formerly unknown 5th tribe, came to Cairnhold to visit Governor Rex, with warriors in number matching our own. She was first viewed with suspicion, however a handshake, not words, changed the minds of the Leadership Council. They allowed her passage to the Stone Wolves' land so she can unite the tribes under her leadership. The article goes on to speculate on how she will unite the tribes and how she already attacked and eliminated 2 other tribes. 2. Double Agent. How the Steward of Cairnhold is really the Sin Victory and in the employ of the Emperor of Remus. How she runs the kingdom when the party is gone, and how she is uniquely positioned for a coup in Remus's favor. Number 3, Mother of No One, a story about Lady Isifin and how she took on the burden of caring for Cairnhold's orphans, and how she seeks betterment to their lives by providing education and a parental figure. Number 4, no heir to the Empire, Lord Governor Rex refuses to consider matrimony for the betterment of the kingdom, questions the succession plan of Cairnhold, and goes into the ethics of the ruler providing an heir. Sorry. Oh, man. A hard time reading today. Now, I can quibble, over how some of the articles are inaccurate and outright incorrect, but the main sticking point for the cast members, both in and out of character, was mainly the second article with portions of the first. The second article involving Wynn, the Steward of Cairnhold. Now, the knowledge about Wynn's true identity was learned on screen by the party. However, the obtained knowledge by the Spy Master and its subsequent dissemination to the article's writer, who was themselves a spy under Cairnhold's employ, was obtained more out of game than in game. As a result of this, the rest of the party rightfully thought they were being spied upon by our own Ministry of Intelligence. Another part of that is the discussion about the barbarian tribe and the visit they had there in Cairnhold. And that was actually that one was actually inaccurate because we didn't allow them to go through our lands. But the handshake changed minds, not the wording, all led to some other stuff that would not have been verbally related to anyone. So in order to cap things as quickly as possible once that news article came out, because everybody was going, the whole cast was going apeshit, I weighed the occurrences and posted a statement in Tavern that the writer of the stories was to be treated as an enemy spy, their identity uncovered, and they were to be incarcerated immediately for questioning. And then Tavern lost its shit. Like, all over the place. It was extremely messy. Now, granted, it was a very vocal minority, but it was still there, and their reactions spoke to several different things, and their concerns boiled down to basically the following. The first being, many people misconstrued what I meant by treat them as an enemy spy. Second one would be, many people thought I was being categorically unfair, and I was punishing someone who was following orders. And the third one was, a few people thought I was just being an outright asshole, and I was being a dick, and I was throwing my weight around as a PC. All of this raised the point that a good deal of the viewership also, and the cast, don't know enough about my mental processes or how my brain digests information to be able to fully understand what it was that I was doing. Now, owing to that, let's discuss the in-game ramifications of what happens when the newspaper article was released. The main issue, as I said before, was that Wynn's identity as the Sin Victory. The Sins are an elite member of the Remusan Empire's soldiers, assassins, diplomats, spies, all sorts of different things. Now, as some people may not recall, we have been leading up to holding peace talks between Remus and the Diamond Council as a recognized neutral party. Now, this was to be accomplished as soon as the circle of protection that surrounds Cairnhold has been repaired and reestablished. The release of this information severely impeded Wynn's ability to continue to do her job here, and in doing so will definitely jeopardize the upcoming peace talks. which Wynn was all in favor for, and as a high-ranking Ramusan who has the Emperor's ear, would have made things go a lot smoother. Now, this will make, of course, Karenhold's job more difficult in attempting to save the entire world. So, as such, this information becoming general knowledge was extremely destructive and most definitely counter to Karenhold's interests. So, I ordered the person detained as an enemy spy, which caused some people's imaginations to fly off the handle as well as their mouths and their fingers. Attacking without stopping to ask the important questions, which were, why is he doing this? Does he have a reason? Is it a good reason? And there's a lot of other questions that could have been asked that frankly weren't. Now you have to remember that treating someone as an enemy spy, treating someone as an enemy spy means they're to be held in a cell in the fort and not allowed any visitors for any reason. They're to be completely sequestered from anyone who's not the leadership or a government official in order to prevent the spread of any other potentially catastrophic, damaging information escaping into the public domain where it will cause more harm than good. Now, this was my reasoning behind those few simple statements right there. A fair amount of information to be packed in the half second that it took me to digest the information and start typing, but that is basically what went through my head in that short span of time. Now, I say this so you can grasp that it was most certainly not a knee-jerk reaction. It was one that was done in character to protect Karenhold from any further harm. Also, if we had a leak, if we had someone who was actually spying on us, then we needed to get that contained before whoever was releasing the information had a chance to escape. And I know a lot of people were screaming in chat and in Discord, check with your minister, check with his boss, check with the spy master, and all this other stuff. It's like, guys, calm down, okay? We're doing this in character to protect things from happening. I don't keep an eye on chat and in Discord because I don't deal with backseat gamers trying to influence my decisions. And we do have some people that try to backseat game every once in a while. And so I don't pay attention to that because I try to avoid it. I glance in there every once in a while so I can respond to people if they're asking me a question or something like that and I happen to have the time. But anyone who's telling me something or trying to relate information to me, that's backseat gaming, and I tend to just skip over that. I do, to be honest with you. Also, there were those that thought I was being categorically unfair, even an asshole. I had a person confront me with the question, what do you think of people who were following orders? To which I took the age-old defense of, I was just following orders, to be what they meant. Well, you have to remember that, first off, I am partly to blame for this entire situation arising in the first place. The Ministry of Intelligence operated with very little oversight, and the issue with closely protected information getting out happened as a direct result of that. But the information getting out was most definitely not an order that came from the leadership of Karenhold, and there was even some confusion about whether or not the order was actually given by the minister himself. And that was after the course of a half-hour, 45-minute voice interchange to where that was actually still unclear, whether that actually even happened or not. However, even if the order was given by the minister, the fact that an agent of Karenhold's employ would willfully and knowingly go along with something so blatantly counter to its interests means that the person's judgment can't be trusted in that position. We don't expect people to blindly accept what's put in front of them, especially for those that wish to work in the ministry. People need to be able to apply critical thinking and deductive reasoning, which I was presented with here. And what I was presented with here was what it seemed to be a person who saw an opportunity to sow chaos and grasped it with both hands. But even if my impression of that action was wrong, the fact still remains that it shouldn't have happened, and I suppose I did expect a bit more, and I felt disappointed. Now, both people's characters have been let go from the Ministry of Intelligence, and neither will be allowed back in anytime soon. Nothing else will be done to punish their characters or the players or anything like that. This was an in-character, you shouldn't have done that, and out-of-character, you really shouldn't have done that, because some of the information was obtained out of character and some of it was in character, and so it was a weird mishmash. So unfortunately the information had already gotten out on the screen, so we had to take it into that context. Now Shoot, I just lost my train of thought. Now, nothing else will be done to punish the characters. I'll deal with the fallout in-game as I've continued to deal with it out of game all weekend and even into today. And I accept that as my character's role of leader. I too have a greater responsibility to both the show, the tavern community, and the fans of the show in general. And that's because of the position my character is in. I am the leader, I'm the person in charge. So I have to, that is definitely a greater responsibility both in and out of game. And I'm okay with that. I know I've had my blow-ups too, but thankfully the few that were, the recipients of those showed some grace and forgave me for them, and I'll do my best to reflect the trust and faith in future actions, most definitely. My blowing up like that was wholly inappropriate, and people were right to call me out on my shit as far as that goes. Now, unfortunately, the aftermath of all of this did result in our first banhammer being dropped on the Discord server. Now, this can't have been an easy decision for AP to make, and it's definitely not something to which I envy him for. But, unfortunately, when a person grows to, God, I hate using this term, but toxic, all they do is turn out what should be something enjoyable and make it a chore, which had the potential to kill the tavern off, which would have made the show much less than it is now, which is still something pretty damn amazing. So if after all this you're still a fan, whether you participate in Tavern or not, I think I'd like to take a moment to thank you on behalf of the entire cast for being such wonderful and awesome people. You all make it a joy to broadcast the show every week, and we all love being able to come into the Discord chat rooms and know that we're sitting down with like-minded individuals and friends. And we may not always agree on everything, but we can still be there for each other. And, at the same time, a special thanks to AP again for creating this amazing and wonderful world that we all get to play in. You, sir, are one of a kind. So once again, I am SidAlpha. If you stumbled across this video and are new to either my channel or AP's channel, I'll put the links down in the description down below. Please do feel free to come back and check out Winter's Edge. It's a fantastic game, a fantastic show, and an even better story. Thanks again for watching, guys, and hopefully I'll see you in Cairnhold.